Good morning. This is going to be a game dev vlog because today is Friday and it's a flex day. My work started doing this thing recently where every other Friday we have a flex day, which means we don't work. It doesn't count against our PTO. It's meant to encourage morale and make my workplace like a competitive place to work. This is a little bonus that we get to try out. It is on a trial period. It's also a long weekend going into Memorial Day. So I'm feeling good. I have a Monster Energy to enjoy today. I don't usually get energy drinks, even though I do really like them. So we're gonna enjoy this Monster Energy Zero Ultra, do some game development, and I'm gonna talk about what I want to accomplish today, right now. Ordinarily, I'd have other stuff to worry about, like YouTube video work, writing work, housekeeping stuff, but because I was excited about this flex day and I was prepared, I planned ahead, so really the only thing I have to do today is game development. The first thing I want to work on is a reconfiguration of my in-game textures. I made a video recently about how I do in-game skins or cosmetics, so if you've seen that, you'll know I use this grid of colors and I do some UV sliding to change the color of the objects in the game, to customize them. I realized a couple things were a little bit wonky or could be better when I did that video, so today I want to reorganize this big color grid so I can do some cool things with different shader effects. However, because I've made the creature models with the old texture, with the old UVs, I am going to have to update those models to be positioned correctly for this new texture. Once I get the texture updated, I want to add the ability to select different shader effects as part of a skin. So I did a sparkly shader a while back following a Minions art tutorial. I can't remember if I had that in a video, but you might see it if I can find some footage. So I want to make some changes to the shader and to how the texture is laid out to support that effect and also other effects that I haven't even decided on yet. And then if I manage to get all that visual work done, which I doubt I'll be able to do today, I also have some enemy generation stuff that I want to work on. Basically, I want to be able to have something like a survival mode that generates a slightly harder round each time, rather than defining each round in advance like I would for a campaign. I got right into editing my texture, starting with the row of emission colors, which is the glow effect on my creatures, and I remembered that emissive colors are a little bit weird. Because they're HDR colors with an intensity, they don't look like the color looks in the texture. They look a little bit different after going through that process. So I made a quick test material in Unity to see what the colors look like in action, but it takes a long time for me to narrow down something I really like, so I think I'll just add a couple of these and do the rest of them later. The regular non-emissive colors are a lot easier. I want to put these in a rough rainbow order and I want to fill them out a lot more. And it actually took me a very long time to come up with all these colors. I've been trying to get a wide range of options that look nice and allow for some interesting combinations. So I started by splitting the texture, which has 28 squares in it exactly, into 7 sections. So pinks, reds, oranges and yellows, green, blue, purple, and then a neutral. Then I mostly use the coolers.co gradient generator. I'll add a link to that somewhere. I just kept hitting random, clicking until I got something I like. I've repeated this process until all of those categories were filled and I had colors all the way across my texture. At around noon, as usual, I fed the cats their second meal of the day. My partner Tyler ordered some food for breakfast, but I had already eaten, so I'm having it for lunch instead. It's an egg sandwich and some kind of curry donut from a Japanese bakery. Even though I'm kind of itching to finish my texture work so I can move on to something else, I stopped to watch some YouTube and chill a little bit while I was eating instead of just work. After eating, I took a little bit of a longer break to do some walking, do some reading, unload the dishwasher, and when I got back to my desk, it was miraculously exactly 2 p.m., which is when I marked down my next game's dev session in my passion planner. Weird how stuff matches up like that. So I got back to my texture edits and finished up those last few color blocks. And then I remembered that I also need to do the metallic roughness texture. That one was pretty quick. If you're curious at all about how I use these textures, I did a video about the UV sliding technique here on YouTube, and then I also have a whole Skillshare course about making 3D models that covers it as well. Once I finished the texture, then came the grueling work of updating all the creature models. I started with my armadillo creature, which is the first one I made, and because of that it's a bit messy. There's some weird jagged bits that I wanted to smooth out, and I wanted to add more dimension to the colors to really make use of the gradient. I ended up getting a little bit stuck, and I had to stop around 4 to give one of our cats his medicine and to figure out dinner. My partner ended up making bangers and mash for dinner, and I solved my armadillo problem just by unwrapping most of the model over again. I think the mesh itself could use some cleaning up too, but I don't really have the energy for that right now, so I'll do that later. After getting the UVs fixed, moved into the new position, I just had to import these into Unity. And since it's been a while since I added a new creature model, I took a little bit of time to write down all these steps so I wouldn't have to remember them for next time. There are a lot of import settings and components to add to get everything working, but once I got it in, it worked like a charm. I did the same thing with my boar creature and the peacock creature, taking time to just make some little changes to both of them to make them look a little bit better. But when I imported the peacock, I got a weird result. There were these splotchy bits of emissive texture all over in these big lumps, and I didn't really understand what was happening. I exported it like 2 more times, thinking I messed something up with the export, and it took me a while to figure out what happened. But basically, I made the albedo texture, I made the metallic roughness texture, but I forgot to update the emissive texture. So I just had to update that with the new layout and it was all better. Now all 3 of the player creatures I have in the game right now are updated, and that just leaves the 3 enemy units. But it is getting pretty late. I've been at this for a while. All of this took a lot longer than I expected it to. Alright, it is now 8:30 at night. I have been working on this game all day, pretty much. I took a little bit of a break for lunch, a little bit of a break for dinner, but otherwise it's been pretty much straight through from 10 this morning until now, 8:30. I'm cutting myself off here. I almost convinced myself to push the vlog a second day, and then I remembered, no, that's how you end up with 40-minute vlogs. It already might be pretty long because I did so much work today, but basically what I got done was that I filled out my texture atlas, my texture grid full of colors, and made some changes to the order that things are in so that I can clean up my UV script a little bit. Theoretically, I added support for different shader effects. I'm still working on that part. So basically what I've done is that each set of 3 color rows has a different shader effect applied to it, or potentially a different metallic roughness value applied to it. So I have a couple of rows with low metallic, low roughness, a couple with high metallic, high smooth, a couple variations on that, and then I have one that is masked with another texture to apply the sparkle shader that I made a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even, it might have even been a month or 2 at this point. But I don't have that working yet. I can't do anything in game to switch the UVs down to that row. So that's the piece I need to work on tomorrow. And I think I'm going to cut the vlog off here. So I did good work. If you stick around, if you subscribe, you will see the changes that I've made in future vlogs or future YouTube videos. But for now, I think I'm just going to have to be content with the fact that I now have 28 different colors to choose from. And I have converted my 3 player creatures to use the new texture. I still have to get the enemy units They still look kind of wonky because of the changes I've made to the shader, but I'm in a good place. I feel really good about the work I did today, and the best part of all of this is that it's Friday night. It's not Saturday. I still have my whole weekend ahead of me, and that is easily the best part of having these Flex Fridays, is that I feel like I have so much more time, even though it is just one day and it is only every other week. I feel like I have room to work on things that aren't just my day job, where before I was kind of trying to cram all of these things into a normal work week. I just feel like I have a little bit of wiggle room, and I'm very grateful for that. I feel very lucky. I hope that we get to keep this schedule permanently, or even bump it up to an every week thing, because that would just be perfect. But I'm gonna sign off here. I'm gonna do a little bit of chilling tonight because I did game work all day. I'm pretty tired. My eyes are probably really red. Is this blurry? I hope this isn't blurry because I'm not refilming it. I'm feeling so good about this game the more I work on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with another video, and I hope to see you there. Thank you, and bye.